I'm Hank, a trucker with 18 years hauling logs, ore, and freight across the back roads of America. From the misty pines of the Pacific Northwest to the deep woods of the Midwest. The road's my home, quiet, raw, full of stories about things that don't belong. Shadow figures, lights in the trees, creatures no one can name. I've always been a skeptic, the guy who rolls his eyes at diner ghost tales. I'm built practical. Check the load, grease the axles, get paid. But last fall, on a lonely dirt road deep in a forest I won't name, I saw something that cracked my world open. They call it the Dog Man, and it's still watching me from the trees. It was just past midnight, and I was hauling a load of fresh-cut pine from a logging camp to a mill, somewhere in the northern U.S. I'll leave it at that. The road was a narrow dirt track, rutted and rough, winding through a forest so thick it swallowed the stars. My auxiliary lights, 6 high-powered beams mounted on the cab, lit up the path like a stadium, cutting through the fog that clung to the ground. The air was damp, smelling of sap and moss, and my CB was off, the only sound the growl of my engine and the crunch of gravel under my tires. I was alone, miles from the nearest town, when my lights caught something ahead. A figure stepping into the road, slow and deliberate. At first I thought it was a bear, maybe a deer, but it stood upright, tall as a man, maybe taller. My beams hit it full on, and my heart stopped. It wasn't human. It was half dog, half man. Fur black as tar, matted and wet, covering a body lean and muscled, with arms too long, ending in clawed hands. Its head was canine, snout long, ears pointed, but its eyes were wrong, glowing yellow, locked on mine like it knew me. What was that thing, and why was it staring? I froze, hands tight on the wheel, the rig idling. The creature didn't move, just stood there, maybe 20 yards out, its chest rising slow, steam curling from its jaws in the cold. For a few seconds, felt like forever, it stared, unblinking, its eyes burning through the windshield. Then it turned, smooth as a shadow, and vanished into the woods, the pines swallowing it whole. No sound, no rustle, just gone. My breath fogged the cab, the air suddenly colder, and a smell, like wet fur and blood, seeped through the vents, heavy and sour. I sat there, engine rumbling, my mind racing. I'm not a superstitious guy. Never believed in Bigfoot, skinwalkers, or any of that campfire crap. But this was real. I'd seen it, clear as day under my lights. I checked the mirrors. Nothing, just the road and the trees. The fog thicker now, like it was hiding something. My cab camera's red light blinked, recording the empty path. I wanted to get out to check for tracks, but my gut screamed to move. I eased the rig forward, heart pounding, the smell of blood and fur choking me. Where did it go, and why did it feel like it was still there? The road twisted deeper into the forest, the pines closing in, branches scraping the trailer like fingers. My CB crackled, though I hadn't touched it. A sound, not a voice, but a growl, low and wet, vibrated through the cab. Hank. My name. My hand shook, the wheels slick with sweat. I yanked the plug, but the growl kept going, circling me, like it was in the walls of the cab. I glanced at the side mirror, and my blood ran cold. Scratch marks, jagged, deep, like claws raking through metal, etched the frosted glass, fresh and raw, glinting in the moonlight. I floored it, the rig bouncing over ruts, logs shifting in the trailer, the forest blurring past. The growl faded, but the smell lingered, and the cold clung to my bones. I didn't stop until I hit a clearing near the mill, a wide gravel lot lit by a single floodlight, the forest retreating into the dark. I parked, my hands still shaking, and checked the camera footage, needing proof I wasn't losing it. The video showed the road, my lights hitting the figure, clear, canine, upright, eyes glowing, then it turning, vanishing into the trees. The audio caught the growl. My name, chillingly clear. Hank. How did it know my name? And what left those marks? I stumbled into the mill's office, the night clerk, a grizzled guy named Earl, looking up from his coffee. He saw my face, pale and drawn, and set the mug down. "You okay, mate?" he said, his voice cautious. "You ever hear about anything weird on that logging road?" I asked, my voice low. Creature, half dog, half man?" His eyes narrowed. "The dog man," he whispered. "You saw it, didn't you?" He slid a napkin across the desk, a single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." He turned away, busying himself with papers, like he was afraid to say more. What did Earl know, and why was he scared to talk? I sent the footage to my boss the next day, expecting a laugh or a warning about drinking on the job. He didn't laugh, just called and told me to take a week off, no questions asked. That wasn't normal. Bosses want reports, details. I couldn't let it go. A week later, I was at a bar near the forest, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the creature, the growl, the scratches. Most shrugged, called it a bear or a prank, but an old-timer, his face like weathered bark, didn't. "You met the dog man," he said. "It's been out there longer than the roads." "What do you know about it?" I asked, my throat tight. He leaned in, eyes dark. "Stories go back decades, maybe longer. Loggers, truckers, hunters. They see it on that road, always at night, always alone. Half dog, half man, eyes like fire. Some say it's a cursed trapper, turned by something in the woods. Others say it's older, something the tribes knew to avoid. It watches, picks a driver, marks their rig. If you stop, it follows." "What does it want?" I said, my voice shaking. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall, a faded shot of a logging road, dated 1963. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure, tall, furred, canine, standing in the trees, its eyes glowing yellow. On the ground beside it, a black leather glove crusted with frost, though it was summer. Was it a cursed man or something the forest owned? I don't haul through that forest anymore. I stick to highways, open roads, where the trees don't crowd in, but it follows me. At night when I'm parked, I smell it, wet fur and blood, heavy and sour, seeping into the cab. I hear it, a growl, low and wet, circling outside, like paws crunching gravel. Last week, I found something under my bunk, a black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 80 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night I was parked in Idaho, miles from that forest. My CB crackled, though it was unplugged, and the growl came through, louder, closer. "Hank, come back." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding, and there it was, the passenger seat, empty. But a shadow flickered, furred and hunched, eyes glowing yellow. In the mirror I saw them. Scratch marks, deeper now, etched into the glass like a claim. A rustle came from the woods outside, and for a second my lights caught it. Yellow eyes, watching, gone when I blinked. I don't know what the dog man is. A ghost, a curse, or something the forest won't let go. I don't know why it chose me or what it wants me to come back for. But I know it's out there, on that dirt road, stalking through the pines, waiting. And I know if I ever drive that stretch again, it'll find me, and this time it might not vanish. Will I ever escape the dog man of the forest road? I'm Dale, a trucker with 16 years hauling freight across the West, from the neon sprawl of Vegas to the snowy passes of the Sierras. The road's my sanctuary. Quiet nights, open skies, and stories of weird lights or ghostly figures traded over diner coffee. I've always been the guy to shrug them off. I'm practical. Check the gauges, log the hours, get paid. But last winter, on a lonesome stretch of Route 395 near Mammoth Lake, I met something that turned those stories real. It wasn't a ghost or a legend. It was a flashlight beam, watching me in the dark, and it's still out there, waiting on that road. It was early winter, just past 1 a.m., and I was hauling a load of groceries from Reno to Bishop on US Route 395, a desolate ribbon cutting through the eastern Sierra. The night was bitter cold, snow dusting the shoulders, the air sharp with pine and frost. I was near Mammoth Lake, a spot known for its quiet beauty and odd vibes. Locals talk of strange lights in the mountains, voices in the wind. I was beat, my eyes burning, so I pulled into a wide turnout, a gravel patch off the highway, perfect for a quick nap. No other rigs, no cars, just me and the dark, the peaks looming like shadows under the stars. I stepped out for a smoke, my boots crunching on frozen gravel, the cold biting my fingers as I lit up. The silence was heavy. No wind, no animals, just my breath fogging in the air. That's when I saw it, about 200 feet out, a flashlight beam, bright and sharp, swinging erratically through the darkness. It wasn't pointed at me, just scanning the trees, the rocks, like someone was searching for something or nothing at all. I squinted, trying to make out a figure, but the beam moved alone, no shadow, no shape behind it. Who was out there, and why was that light moving like that? I stood still, cigarette burning down, my heart ticking faster. I'd heard stories about 395, hikers gone missing, lights in the hills, things the Paiute elders wouldn't name. I told myself it was a camper, maybe a hunter, but the beam's movement felt wrong, too random, too alive. I stomped out my smoke and climbed back into the cab, locking the doors. I flicked on my marker lights, the rig glowing amber in the dark, and that's when it happened. The flashlight beam snapped toward me, instant and precise, like an eye locking on prey. It held steady, pinning my rig, then went dark, completely, like it was swallowed. I froze, hands on the wheel, staring into the blackness where the beam had been. The air in the cab felt colder, heavier, with a faint smell, like damp stone or old metal, creeping through the vents. My CB was off, but it crackled, spitting static. Then a sound, not a voice, but a low hum, like wind through a cave, whispering, "Dale." My name. My stomach dropped. I yanked the plug, but the hum kept going, vibrating in the cab, circling me like a predator. I checked the mirrors. Nothing, just the turnout, the snow, the trees. But in the side mirror, I saw it. Scratch marks, thin and jagged, like nails dragged through frost, etched into the glass, fresh and deep. How did it know my name, and what left those marks? I fired up the engine, the rig roaring to life, and peeled out, the gravel spitting behind me. The turnout faded in my mirrors, the mountains closing in. My cab camera's red light blinked, recording the empty road. The hum faded, but the smell lingered, and the cold clung to my bones. I kept driving, eyes darting to the mirrors, half expecting that beam to flare up again, to find me. I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop in Bishop, its lot packed with rigs, the diner's neon sign glowing like a beacon. I stumbled inside, the smell of coffee and pancakes cutting through the metallic stench still clinging to my jacket. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Clara, poured me a cup and eyed my face. "You look like you've seen a wraith," she said, her voice soft but sharp. "You ever hear about anything weird on 395? I asked, my voice low. "Near Mammoth Lake, a flashlight in the dark." Her hand froze on the coffee pot. "The watching flashlight," she whispered. "You saw it, didn't you?" She slid a napkin across the counter, a single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." She walked away, her eyes avoiding mine, like she was afraid to say more. What was the watching flashlight, and why was Clara scared? I thought that night was a one-off, a fluke born of exhaustion and mountain air. But a month later, I was back on 395, same stretch, hauling another load through the Sierra. I swore I'd drive straight through, no stops, but the snow was heavier and my eyelids were drooping. I pulled into that same turnout, telling myself I'd stay in the cab, keep the engine running. I dozed off, the heater humming when it woke me, the sound of hands running along my trailer, fast and deliberate, like someone was dragging their palms across the metal, circling the rig. I shot upright, grabbing my flashlight, heart pounding. The sound was loud, rhythmic, moving from the back to the sides, then the cab, all around me. I checked the mirrors. Nothing, just snow and darkness, the pines standing silent. I flicked on the marker lights, and the sound stopped, sudden as it started, leaving a silence that pressed on my chest. The cab was freezing me, the heater dead, and that damp stone smell was back, thicker, like I was underground. I swept the flashlight out the window, expecting tracks, a figure, anything. Nothing. The snow was untouched, no prints, no sign of anyone. What was circling my rig, and why was there no trace? My CB crackled, unplugged, and the hum returned, louder, sharper. Dale, stay. I checked the camera feed, hands shaking, and saw it. The sleeper, empty. But a shadow flickered, tall and blurred, holding something bright, like a flashlight, gone in a blink. In the side mirror, the scratch marks were deeper, fresh lines over the old, like a claim carved in glass. I roared out of the turnout, the rig fishtailing in the snow, the hum chasing me until the road straightened out. I sent the footage to my boss the next day, expecting a laugh or a warning about long hauls. He didn't reply, just called and told me to take a few days off, no questions asked. That wasn't normal. Bosses want paperwork, details. A week later, I was at a bar in Reno, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the flashlight, the hands, the hum. Most laughed, called it mountain madness. But an old-timer, his face like weathered granite, didn't. "You met the Watcher," he said, "the thing on 395. "What do you know about it?" I asked, my throat tight. He leaned in, eyes dark. "Been stories since the 60s, maybe older. Drivers on 395 near Mammoth Lake see a flashlight in the dark, moving like it's hunting. It watches, waits, then marks you, scratches, sounds, your name. Some say it's a miner, lost in the hills, killed in a cave-in. Others say it's something the Paiute left alone, tied to the mountains. It picks drivers, follows them. If you stop twice, it gets closer." "What does it want?" I said, my voice shaking. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall, a faded shot of Route 395, dated 1972. In the corner, barely visible, was a beam of light, cutting through the trees, no figure behind it. On the ground nearby, a black leather glove, crusted with frost, though it was summer. Was it a lost miner, or something the mountains kept? I don't drive 395 anymore, not near Mammoth Lake. I stick to interstates, bright routes where the dark doesn't press in. But it follows me. At night, when I'm parked, I smell it. Damp stone, cold and heavy, seeping into the cab. I hear it, a faint hum, like wind in a cave, or hands dragging on metal. Last week I found something under my bunk, a black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 85 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night I was parked in Nevada, miles from the Sierra. My CB crackled, unplugged, and the hum came through, louder, closer. "Dale, come back." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding, and there it was, the passenger seat, empty, but a beam flickered, like a flashlight swinging, gone in a blink. In the mirror, I saw them, scratch marks, deeper now, etched into the glass like a summons. Outside, in the dark, I heard it, gravel crunching like something circling, waiting for me to step out. I don't know what the watching flashlight is, a ghost, a spirit, or something the mountains won't release. I don't know why it chose me, or what it wants me to come back for. But I know it's out there, on Route 395, scanning the dark, watching. And I know, if I ever stop near Mammoth Lake again, it'll find me. And this time, it might not go dark. Will I ever escape the watching flashlight of Mammoth Lake? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next.